No one asked him to leave everything behind. No one told him to step onto a foreign shore with nothing but faith. And yet he did. A young Englishman, tall, earnest, carrying a heart that burned with a single, consuming purpose. He left a home where comforts were familiar, where people understood his language, his mannerisms, his religion. The streets of London were orderly, predictable, safe. Yet the pull of another land, a distant place across vast oceans, whispered in his soul. Hudson Taylor had once been a boy in the English countryside, curious, studious, quiet, drawn to the stories of the world beyond. But those stories were not adventures, they were calls. Calls to a land he had never seen, to people he did not know, to a God whose reach seemed far beyond anything ordinary. Taylor did not chase fame. He did not desire recognition. He followed a whisper in the spirit, a quiet conviction that the kingdom of God stretched farther than comfort, farther than certainty. Before he became Hudson Taylor, he was a young man full of questions. He wrestled with his own inadequacies, his fears, his doubts, and yet, within him burned a desire that would not be quenched, to live wholly for God, to give everything, and to trust that the God who called him would supply all he lacked. His calling would not come with an easy path, it would demand surrender. At first, China was a mystery. Vast, ancient, foreign in language, culture, and customs. The land itself seemed a puzzle, its people distant, wary, proud. Disease lurked in every alley, hunger whispered in every home. And yet, Taylor did not see obstacles. He saw opportunity. He adopted the dress of the locals. He learned the language in painstaking detail. He walked through villages that no Western missionary had dared to enter. Every step, every act of humility was a prayer in motion. It was not quick. Progress was slow. People mocked him. He was laughed at, even among those who called themselves fellow Christians. They said he risked too much, that he was naive, that he would fail. And yet, Music Taylor pressed on. He believed that miracles unfolded not through clever plans, but through faithfulness, obedience, and perseverance. Every illness he faced, every hunger, every moment of rejection, he bore quietly. He did not complain. He did not falter. His life became a testimony of endurance, shaped by reliance on God. When Hudson entered a village, he did not arrive with pamphlets or lectures. He arrived with care, with attention, with presence. He healed not only bodies but hearts. People saw in him something rare, a man who had risked everything yet carried nothing but love. Children ran to him. Adults whispered about his courage. Local leaders observed him curiously, and when they saw that his God provided for him, protected him, and strengthened him, curiosity turned into trust. He faced famine, he faced disease, he faced war. But in every trial, Taylor held the same rhythm: prayer, preparation, presence. He lived among the people, eating as they ate, sleeping where they slept. Every day, he reminded himself that his mission was not to impress, but to serve, not to be seen, but to remain faithful. Hudson Taylor's first church was not a building. It was the streets, the villages, the homes of people who had never heard of Jesus in a meaningful way. Slowly, quietly, miracles began to happen. Lives changed, hearts softened, families healed. People who had no hope encountered love, and it was enough. Taylor did not systematize it. He did not measure it. He remained music consistent, unwavering, persistent in the small, daily acts of faith. Some nights, he knelt in silence, praying not for recognition, not for success, but for guidance. The vastness of China, the enormity of the task, could have overwhelmed anyone, but Taylor had learned early that God's work is not done in panic, nor in hurry, nor in the pursuit of applause. It is done in obedience, step by step, life by life, heart by heart. Years passed. People came to know him. Others came to follow him, inspired not by a sermon but by a life. Hudson trained others, yes, but he never imposed his methods. He modeled a life surrendered to presence, showing that faith is a posture more than a program. His letters, his journals, his correspondence spoke of hardship, but more of dependence, trust, and the quiet victories of a life given fully to God. And when he faced death, as all men must, there was no panic, no desperation. There was the same calmness, the same trust, the same surrender that had carried him across oceans, through famine, disease, and rejection. His story did not end with headlines or awards. It ended in lives touched, hearts transformed, and a faithfulness that echoed across decades. Hudson Taylor reminds us today, in a world obsessed with speed, success, and visibility, that true impact is often silent, patient, and hidden. That obedience matters more than applause. That risking everything for God does not mean recklessness, it means surrender. That miracles unfold not by force, but by a quiet, persistent faith that refuses to be distracted by fear, pride, or comfort. If this story has stirred something in you, music write in the comments. Lord, teach me to surrender. Let it rise in silence. Let it cross oceans of doubt. Let it reach the heart that called Hudson Taylor to a distant land. And if this channel has become a place where your soul finds pause, consider supporting this mission. Click on subscribe and help us keep stories like this alive, stories of faith that does not chase recognition but remains. May our lives grow quieter, may our hands open wider, May our feet be willing to step into the unknown, and perhaps the next journey is yours.